A deportee's dilemma, Kilmar's story. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia was living his American dream. A legal resident since 2011, he had built a life in the United States. But on March 15, 2025, that dream turned into a nightmare. Garcia was deported to El Salvador. He was ripped away from his home and thrown into a dangerous and unfamiliar world. The authorities claimed he was a gang member, a threat to national security. Garcia, who had no criminal record, insisted it was a terrible mistake. Garcia's deportation was no ordinary removal. It was authorized under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, a dusty law from a bygone era. This law, dusted off and weaponized by the Trump administration, gives the president sweeping powers to detain and deport non-citizens deemed enemy aliens. It's a law that chills the very core of American values. The court battles began. A U.S. district judge called the deportation wholly lawless and ordered Garcia's return. The Trump administration, however, refused to back down, claiming broad authority on matters of national security. The case, a high-stakes game of legal ping-pong, landed at the doorstep of the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court. Echoes of the past, the Alien Enemies Act. The year was 1798. America, a fledgling nation, was on the brink of war with France. The Alien Enemies Act, passed amidst a wave of anti-French sentiment, granted President John Adams unprecedented power to deport foreigners deemed a threat to national security. Fast forward to 2025. The Trump administration, invoking this relic of the past, has used the Alien Enemies Act to justify the deportation of countless individuals, including Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. The Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act is not an isolated incident. It is part of a larger pattern of policies aimed at reshaping America's immigration landscape. This administration has implemented a slew of measures, from the infamous Muslim ban to the separation of families at the border, all designed to limit immigration and demonize immigrants. The implications of this legal maneuvering are far-reaching and deeply troubling. By reviving a law from a time of heightened paranoia and xenophobia, the Trump administration has opened the door to potential abuse of power. Critics argue that the Alien Enemies Act in the hands of this administration has become a tool for discrimination and a weapon against due process. A nation divided, the Supreme Court weighs in. America held its breath. The fate of Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, a man caught in the crosshairs of a deeply divided nation, rested in the hands of 9 judges. The Supreme Court, facing mounting pressure, was forced to confront a fundamental question. Could a centuries-old law conceived in a time of war and suspicion be wielded in modern America without trampling on the rights of individuals? In a 5-4 decision that sent shockwaves through the legal system, the Supreme Court upheld the Trump administration's use of the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelan nationals. This ruling, while not directly addressing Garcia's case, set a chilling precedent, effectively greenlighting the administration's broad interpretation of executive power in matters of immigration. The court's decision ignited a firestorm of controversy, drawing sharp criticism from civil rights groups and legal scholars alike. They argued that the ruling dangerously expanded executive power, eroding fundamental legal protections and paving the way for further abuses against immigrants. The dissenting justices echoed these concerns, warning of the dangers of unchecked executive authority and its potential to undermine the very fabric of American democracy. Justice delayed, justice denied. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia remains trapped in El Salvador, a country he hasn't known in years, his American dream hanging by a thread. His lawyers continue to fight for his return, but the Supreme Court's recent ruling casts a long shadow over their efforts. The Trump administration, emboldened by the court's decision, shows no signs of backing down. This case is about more than one man's deportation. It's about the soul of America. It's about the delicate balance between national security and individual rights. It's about the very essence of due process and the fundamental right to a fair hearing. When a government can deport its residents, even citizens, based on secret evidence and vague accusations, what happens to the ideals of freedom and justice? The human cost of these policies is immeasurable. Families are torn apart, lives are upended, and the promise of America, the beacon of hope for so many, is dimmed. The Trump administration's relentless pursuit of its immigration agenda has left a trail of broken lives and shattered dreams in its wake. It is a stain on the conscience of a nation built on the principles of liberty and justice for all.